What's up, my comic fam? Scar here, Capital K Comic Reviews, coming at you with another video. This one, I'm going to do a little 5-video series on comic pressing. Boom! How to do it, what to do, what you need, and how to get into it. So let's get into it. Let's go. So you want to get into pressing comics, but you don't know where to start, and you don't know what you need, and you don't know where to go to look for advice on how to get this thing rolling. Well, I'm here to ease your pain, ease your worries, and get you into the game of pressing your books, or pressing other books if you want to get into pressing other people's books from your mates or someone else, or anything like that. I'm going to give you the ones and twos, the ins and outs and ups and downs on how to and what you need for pressing comics. So first I'm just going to say, I've been pressing comics for about 2 years now. I've been collecting comics for like nearly 30 years, and decided a couple of years ago that I wanted to try and find out if anyone where I lived, which is in New Zealand, press comics. Now, talking to local friends on the local comic page on Facebook, and just talking to comic mates in general, the consensus was no one knew of anyone that would press comics, and if there was anyone that did, they were only pressing their own comics and only got their kit for themselves and stuff like that, which is fair enough, each their own. But I first off wanted to see if anyone was out there that I could send my books to get them pressed and get them sent back to me, but there was no one that I could find where I live here in New Zealand that actually did that. So which opened up, which made me have a brain thought and think, well, what if I do my own ones and get into pressing my own comics? What do I actually need to get that started? So maybe like a lot of you, I tried the DIY, which I'll hit at the end of this video, giving you the tips and that I tried before I got into getting a heat press, comic press. But yeah, found it very hard where I am, and then so decided to get my own machine, and picked it up pretty damn cheap. I was lucky to get it. Was a steal. It was there. I was lucky to get it, and yeah, and thought I'll get the machine, and then I'll try and find out as much as I could, because I thought there would obviously be a lot of information out there on YouTube and online about pressing comics. And to my surprise, there was, but there wasn't. If you've been searching online, you may know what I'm talking about. For some reason, do not know why, it evades me that when people do videos or try and tell you about pressing comics, they give you a broad overview of what pressing involves, but they don't give you the intricate details or info that is a necessity that you need to know to press your comics. A lot of videos that I watched, they will give you the before and the after videos and stuff like that, and they'll tell you, I'm going to press this comic, this is what it looked like, put it in the press, blah 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 blah, click of the fingers, camera flicks, and then it comes out, they pull it in the press, look, this is how it turned out, and stuff like that. Other ones I have, I think there was one guy, I can't remember his name, but I found that his video was too long, too lengthy, and that to find out. I did get a couple of things from him, but yeah, found it too long, and to cutting through all the white noise to try and get the info that I needed to get me started. So found it very hard over many months and watched hundreds and hundreds of videos about pressing comics, and decided, and got the information I need, and then it was just a trial and error basis. I got the broad overview of it, and then it was a lot of trial and error. Now, I recommend, if you're getting into the trial and error phase, obviously do not use key books when getting all the bumps and that out of your procedures of pressing. Do what I did and use reader copies or not that good of copies that have been sitting in your collection that you know, you don't really miss kind of damaging them, you know, if you're getting into pressing, which I did. I had about half a dozen or so that I did damage them, and in the long run now, I think that was a good thing, because now I know how far I can go and how far I don't. But you know, so that's what I found online. I found it hard personally to try and find information. So when I started this channel, I said I'll be putting up reviews of movies and games and comics and trailers and stuff like that. But I also said that I'll start to do a series of pressing comics, because I've pressed a few comics for mates of mine, and you know, the comics that I have pressed for them aren't, you know, they are kind of big key comics that I have pressed for them. So that's pretty much my background in pressing videos over the last 2 years and where I am at now. So like I said, I'm going to do a 5, well after this one it's going to be a 4, but all over it's going to be a 5 video series on pressing comics, and I'm going to tell you the ins and outs in there. I'm going to tell you the critical information that didn't get told to me, so you know how to do it properly and how not to damage your box. I still recommend, after you watch this series, practicing on reader copies or practicing on not got copies until you get your confidence up to press key box, and then probably start off with lower keys and then work your way up to the big keys until you're strongly confident or enough to put you know, an Action Comics #1 in the press and stuff like that, you know, crazy stuff like that. But that's what I recommend. So yeah, that's a nutshell. So we'll get into the machine and the materials that you need to start pressing. So like I said, I went out and got a heat press. A lot of you guys would hear in the comic world referred to as a comic press. It's pretty much what they call a t-shirt press. Pretty much everyone that I've seen is a t-shirt press. So when they reference to a comic press, this is what they're talking about, a t-shirt press or a heat press. So my one is a brand called The Magic Touch. I think it's an American brand. It's a very good brand. I got it secondhand, and she's sturdy. She was built to last, and she just keeps chugging along. I've done, except for the Spawn one, I've done every book up here, and pretty much a lot of my collection I've done over the past 2 years. There are 2 presses that you can get. This one is, I decided to go with this one. This one is a swing arm one, so it swings across. The other one you can get is what they call a sandwich press. Excuse me. I decided to go with the swing arm one because it was cheaper, it was a deal, and you couldn't pass up on it. But I'm glad it was a swing arm one and not a sandwich one, because I don't, in my way of thinking, when you use a sandwich board one, I'm not saying that this happens, but this is just how I was thinking when I was going through finding a press. I thought if that comes down, it may shift the pages of the book when it's coming down, and that was my concern. I'm not saying that happens, because you know, I don't know that happens because I haven't got a sandwich press, but I was happy that it was a swing arm one. Now the benefit of the swing arm one is that it will come, it swings over and it just presses straight down, and it's really hard, and she presses straight down pretty flush, as opposed to a sandwich board which sandwiches like that. She's got the adjuster up here, the tensioner adjuster, the temperature gauge to put it on, so you'll get familiar with that over the next few videos, where that is a key thing that you need to know with pressing comics, is your temperature. And like I said, when I was researching them, a lot of people would not give you the temperature that you need to press your comics. For some reason it was they wanted to, you know, keep that to themselves and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I don't know why they did it, but I'm not going to do that. But yeah, temperature gauge, and then the temperature gauge on here, which tells you how hot it's getting. That just tells you what you want to turn it up to. That's the gauge to tell you how hot it's getting, how fast it's getting. So the machine itself is pretty sturdy, solid. The one thing I will say, if you are looking at getting a heat press, just be cautious, be wary on where you get them. You can pick them up from Amazon, you can pick them up from here's the other places, Amazon, eBay. Over here in New Zealand, there are a couple on Trade Me, but just be mindful, guys, that there are some presses out there. It is pretty much rule of thumb, you pay for what you get. There are some cheap presses out there, and there is a reason why these presses are cheap. The Magic Touch brand, I think brand new, these ones are not cheap at all. But if you can pick one up for a deal, then I'd probably grab it. But if you, all you can afford is the couple of $100 one, or the from Amazon or that, then you know, you work within your budget, guys, and that's what you do. Just be wary and be mindful of the components of it, because a lot of things I've seen of them snapping on the lever arms, or the bolts are snapped, or things like that. So just be wary, guys. But yeah, like I said, you pay for what you get. The more you pay, probably the better it is, kind of thing. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for presses. So that's the main machine that you need for pressing comics. The next thing you will need, now all these things that you need are essential. Do not skip any of these, because these are essential things that you need to press your comics. The next thing you need is these things, Teflon sheets. Now I picked these Teflon sheets up from my local baker. I just rocked in there and seen if he would sell me a couple. He was kind enough to sell me 4 of them. Now the benefit of the Teflon sheets is that, because they're non-stick, obviously, because they're Teflon, but I've been pressing for 2 years, and the 2 sheets that I've got in my press, I've been using since I got the press. So and I've still got the other 2 brand new ones just stored away. But these are a godsend, these things, and as you watch through the series, you'll see how they've been used and how they get put into things. So the Teflon sheets are a must, along with the machine. Now the other things that you do need is just normal paper, A4 paper, preferably acid-free paper. But you know, I've been using just stuff, the photocopying paper. I've just been using that. Seems to be working fine for me. But you know, they recommend acid-free paper. But you know, I'm actually not 100% sure if the copy paper is acid-free. It may be. I'm not too sure. But that's what I use. And probably grab you a decent stack of those, guys. Because you will go through them depending on how many books you want to be pressing. You will chew through those things. So that's the third thing you need with the machine: the Teflon sheets, the paper, and the last thing you need is just normal comic backing boards. This one's just got the plastic sleeve on it, but that's what we need. Comic backing boards, probably about half a dozen of those. Should see you right. If you're doing your press right, then you should, these boards should last you a little while. Because yeah, they should. But that's pretty much the main components that you need for a comic press. Maybe in a later video after the series, we'll get into like what they use, a humidity chamber, which moistens up the book before you put it into the press. But you know, we'll get into that in a later date, guys. So during this series, I'm gonna I'm gonna do 2 comics. I'm gonna walk you through a modern comic, and I'm gonna walk you through a Silver Age comic, or an older comic. Now there are differences between pressing these 2, a modern book to an older book, and even a golden age or anything like that. There are different procedures, slightly different procedures, but if you did a modern comic as at the procedures of a Silver Age one, you run a really high chance of damaging the modern book, just due to the different inks, different paper, stuff like that. So I'll show you the 2 books we're going to do, that I'm going to do through the series. The modern one we're going to be doing is The Death of Wolverine, number 1. Everyone should know this one. This one's got indentations on the cover, but that's going to be the modern one we're going to be doing. And then the silver, or the older one we're going to be doing, Silver Age 1 is X-Men 266, first appearance of Gambit. It also has indentations along, I think it's along there, and stuff, which I want to get out, but I thought this would be the perfect time to show you and walk you through the procedures and how they're pressing and how they come out. So pressing comics, if you don't know, what you probably do, gets rid of a lot of indentation, non-color break spine ticks, moisture damage, which is it won't get rid of the stain if it's got a stain in it, but it will get rid of that wavy look if you've got wavy looks on your thing from humidity, stuff like that. It will get rid of all that kind of stuff. Any color broken creases or spine ticks, it will flatten them all out, but you'll still have the color breaks in them. So you know, just expect that. Don't expect to have get all those color breaks or dog ears, creases, or anything like that out, because it just doesn't. Also gets rid of spine rolls. If I'll probably do one through about spine rolls in there. I might do that with the humidity one later on, but this one I'm just going to purely focus on ins and outs of pressing in normal books in a normal way. So yeah, 2 books. Those are 2 books we're going to be pressing, guys, through this little series we got. Boom. Yeah, so with that, yeah, so we'll get into the DIY, or how I started when I first started pressing comics. Maybe like a lot of you guys out there, I did what they call cold pressing. In a lot of my books I would stack in between other books. You know, people my age will know when we were younger, there was encyclopedias series, which were these big volume of books that were in shelves and stuff, and it worked quite well to sit your comics in there and just have them sandwiched together. You'd have to leave them in there for a while, but it would work. So cold pressing, obviously no heat, it's just pressure. You can use what you need. If you walk around your house, if you can come across 2 flat boards bigger than an A4, just make sure that the surface where the comic is going to go in between is smooth, flat, no dents, no anything like that. You just want them smooth, nice, flush kind of thing. Get those, put your comic in it, put the other board on top, and stack something heavy on it, guys. A rock. If you've got a weight bench like I do, just your free weights, take them off the dumbbells, off the bar, put them on. But like I said, you'll have to leave it there for a little while before for it to take effect. The other way you could do it is Jig Clamps. If you get like 2 or 3 Jig Clamps, use those same boards and Jig Clamp the comic together in between those 2 boards and tighten them down there. I will warn you guys, do not over pressure them. You could run the risk of compressing them together or compressing the pages together, and you'll get that sound. Now when pressing, even hot pressing, that slight sound is okay. It's okay. Any louder than a kind of thing is bad. It can end up bad, because the louder it is, and you know, if you have to fight to get the pages apart, then you've got either too much weight on it, or you've compressed it too much with the G clamps. So just be mindful of that, guys, because that could destroy books and things like that. The other way is, when I started to get into hot pressing, is the method that you can use is with just a normal house iron. It can work. It does have its downfalls personally. It could burn your book because you're not putting an even heat across it. Yeah, which is the benefit, as the heat press has got a solid It's got a heat plate on top, and it just evenly heats up to cover the whole book. As the line, you have to work up and down the book, across side to side. You know, by the time you get back to this side, that's getting warm, but that's cooling down, and then vice versa, if you know what I mean, if you can follow that. So just be wary of that. Maybe use paper or boards while you're doing it, and if you've got the Teflon sheets there, use Teflon sheets. Yeah, but it worked for me for a little bit. I did find it a bit more tedious, so hence why I decided to get a comic press or a heat press, and go down that avenue. But that's just a few tips that you guys can use around your house, just normal items you can grab around your house. I will add one more thing, guys, about the press. If you do come across a second-hand press, a couple of things you need to obviously look out for. You buy it from a garage sale or yard sale or second-hand shop, or you know, anything like that. First off, make sure it's in working order. And the second most important thing is make sure that the heat plate is not damaged in any way. It's not rusted, it hasn't got grooves in it, or burrs sticking out, or anything, any kind of damage to it at all. And you know, when you're testing to make sure it works, make sure the plate heats up kind of evenly, or evenly. It doesn't have cold spots on it. So that's just the last tip in there for getting a press. But yeah, the DIY around your house, those kind of things you can do. Cold pressing takes a lot longer, but you still get the same result. But yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell, guys. So you know, if you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. That way you get notified about the series that I'm going to be releasing over the next few weeks, and you'll also get to see the other awesome content that I put on my channel, and you can click on that and have a look at that. And if you like it, share it with your friends, let them know, let them come along and be part of the Capital K Comics family. So thank you once again, guys, and we'll see you on the next video. All right, whiz out.